It's just a stats. Reggie Johnson, Eugene Warren coming to you from the lovely city of Atlanta, Georgia. And Eugene did it today. I would not say today, but in the last couple of days, the time of recording. This has come across. And you know what's funny? We did our grades, of which I'm still posting to TikTok. So I'm going to be posting those things for the next week or so.
Yeah.
32 team grades there.
It took a while.
So when we were doing those grades for the Texans, I think even then we had given them high marks just for getting, I think, Danielle Hunter and Joe Mixon. This is before the Diggs. Now with this, because initially the Bears are my favorite situation, my favorite team in the offseason so far as them being able to hold on to their draft capital and still upgrade their team in certain spots.
Right.
But man, you got to love this, right? You got to love this Stephon Diggs situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's interesting is let's look at what they gave up here. 25 second round pick. Come on, man.
Okay.
Come on. And then you get Diggs and somehow a 6th and a 5th round. Okay, I get that. I get that. And the 6th round, I think, comes this year, where it looks like the Bills don't even get that 2nd rounder till next year. Very interesting. So what are your initial thoughts on Diggs here?
I mean, we know he's been unhappy. He's been in a few places, been unhappy, but I mean, it's just another weapon, right? For Stroud.
Right.
I mean, how are you not happy with it? So Stroud really didn't. I mean, look at his receiving core, right? Didn't have a guy. Now he's a guy. I mean, I think I texted you right. After I saw this. I did A plus. I mean, if you're getting a number one with that compensation, I mean, what's not to like? I mean, I mean, I like Texans after coming in this year. I'm liking him more. I like what they're doing. I mean, they found their quarterback, and they said, you know what? Let's build around him, and that's what they're doing. And you cannot argue with what the results at this point.
You know what's interesting is you hear a lot of rumblings year after year about different little things that are happening here on your with a lot of these teams, and it's interesting to see something actually come of it, because Stephen A. Smith and a lot of other people said during the last year or so, you heard a lot of people saying, hey, they're just not happy. And his brother, of course, was not shy about posting on the socials
right
about wanting him to get out of there and not be appreciated. But it's interesting though when it comes to be true, because it's not always true. So when it actually comes down and you're like, wait a second, that was actually the truth, then it's interesting that you see it actually come to fruition. And then to go to the Texans, was that surprising where he went? Because I mean, maybe it's not surprising that he went altogether and he went somewhere, but is it surprising where he went to?
Surprising, yeah. You would. I mean, at least he's not in your division, right? You don't want to ever trade a guy in your division, but he's still in the AFC, So I mean, maybe that's not a big surprise, but I mean, the numbers did drop last year, obviously, So I mean, he's still a top tier talent. I mean, I don't know. It's not surprising. I mean, the Bills, we've seen what they're doing, right? They feel like they've kind of missed their window, so they're kind of gonna try to revamp, right? So let's they revamp the defense, and we know we've heard the rumbling with Diggs all year long. So I mean, I'm not surprised, but kudos for them. I mean, they might have got more trading within the division, but you're never going to do that. But I mean, look what you gave up, and you're still a top team. You still got your top quarterback, and you give him another weapon. And like you said, now you have two good running backs, not one, but you have a legit number one, and Mixon could be a number two whenever you want. So I love it. I mean, again, Diggs, the first year change of scenery, probably going to put up the better numbers, but I can't be mad at this trade.
It's interesting because 107 receptions, man. Allen's losing so many. When you count him and you plus add Gabe Davis to this, Allen's going to lose about 150 receptions here. It's interesting here too. Look at this: over 100 receptions every year that he was here. Um, I don't know, man. It's a lot of production to lose because it's not just the receptions. You look at the yardage here, and he's got over 1,000 yards stretching back to 2018. Look at that. Nice 1,000-yard run there, stretching all the way back to 2018. I don't know, man. If I had to say somebody won this deal, if I had to say somebody won the deal, I'm gonna have to say it was the Texans, right?
Right.
It's gotta be the Texans here.
Yeah.
Texans won this deal, in my opinion. Let me see if I would letter grade it. Oh, how can you not go A for adding receiver like this? And they voided the last 3 years too. So this is also now. I don't know if you heard this news. This came out kind of after the trade, but he's not going to be. He'll be a free agent after this season. A couple things can happen there for the Texans. If he does become a free agent after next season, I think they get a compensatory pick in addition to the picks that they have. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, too, you get a guy who's motivated, right? We all know what those one-season guys get.
Right.
They know they can go to free agency the next year. Motivation, man. Motivation for them to come through and perform so that they can re-up again on the next year. What do you think about the 3-year void? Or I don't know if it's exactly 3. I just know that the rest of the contract has been voided and there's only 1 year on that deal.
Well, then, yeah, then it looks even better, right? Because you've only given up a 6th round, a 5th round, and a 2nd round pick next year, right? I mean, 2nd round pick next year. I mean, that might be big, but you don't lose a 1st round for your next year.
Yeah, you really lose 1 pick.
You lose 1 pick,
and you have the chance to get 3 picks if he leaves.
Right. So again, it's a smart move. It's one of those picks. You're like, one of those trades. You're like, okay, it's a low risk, high reward, right? So if he doesn't perform, great. I mean, not great, but it's like, okay, he doesn't perform, but we still have a good infrastructure. We still have a good team. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you put the numbers up there. I mean, he's still going to perform. He's still going to play. He's still going to put up good numbers. What was Stroud being there? And then, like I said, you can run that play action with. You got 2 good running backs there. I still think I can still see him putting up good numbers and doing what he wants, hitting free agency, being that top tier wide receiver. So I think it's a win-win for both teams here with Diggs and Texans.
Yeah, it's interesting because now I think it really puts the Bills kind of in the hot seat, kind of in the same situation that the Chargers kind of are, in my opinion. Who are these quarterbacks going to throw the ball to?
Right.
And you're going to, not every team, because there's supposed to be a lot of quarterbacks or wide receivers, I should say, in this draft. And a lot of teams are looking to address that need in the draft, but there's only so many. So you can't go into the draft looking to address your whole wide receiving core, right? You're looking to hopefully come out of the draft with 2 or 3 guys who can start for you and play that 1 or 2. Trying to replace 150 catches is a lot. You know what I mean? Like I don't envy that, but I do think that he was kind of a distressed asset in the sense that he wanted to go, and a move had to be made, and at least she didn't let him walk for nothing. So
no, you got some picks,
about that, right?
I guess, you got more picks, and like you said, like we always say, if you're letting a player go, at least get as many picks as you can back for him.
Right. Well, let's go to fadeaway world here. And let's go ahead and share this tab here. Boom. So in this particular case, this was which NBA franchise would trade their superstar for their Wemby. Now, it's not necessarily, I said in this particular case, I'm not really sure why I even said that, because in with fadeaway world, they have so many of these kind of like interesting questions. I would call them kind of like infographics, but it's a nice site for any basketball fan, especially. I think I'm usually on here for basketball. I don't know if they have anything more for basketball, but basketball is where I tend to see a lot of their stuff. So we feature it on this show. And it's interesting. It's an interesting question. Let's actually see if we can go full screen here for people to see.
There we go.
Yeah. So interesting here, because you have the no way I would not. You have the no because of loyalty, which is literally one player, which is very funny about that, right?
Right.
Strong consideration, sorry, bye bye, and immediately. Why does sorry, bye bye above the immediately? I feel like that they kind of go together there. You can kind of put him below. So for the podcast audience who's not able to see, we'll go over kind of the players here. I'm
Yep.
not sure if I'm going through that immediately. Immediately looks like about 3 NBA teams down there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all those guys, but I definitely will go through the top few categories.
Mm-hmm.
So the no way crowd, and this is going to pain me as an Atlanta Hawks fan to see this guy every single time I have any list that has Luka on it and
Yep.
Trey is not in the same category,
Mm-hmm.
then I feel a certain way. As a matter of fact, Trey is in the category below, and we'll talk a little more about Trey Young later on in the show. But
Mm-hmm.
if you go down to the very bottom there and
Right.
immediately would trade, you will definitely see our guy Trey Young down there. So let's go to the absolutely not. Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, Georgia guy, man. You know I love him, man.
Yep.
So, what do you think? Is that a yes, no on that top list? Is there somebody in that top list that you would trade for Wemby?
I mean,
They come to you and say, "We'll give you Wemby." You give up Jokic, you give up Luka.
I don't think I have to agree with that. I'm not giving up any of those guys. No. I mean, was it you've got two of those three guys have chips, right? No,
Yeah, two
I
guys, Giannis and Jokic have chips. So
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, I just see more of the resume of the other guys. I just if like I said, maybe is it three more years of Wemby, what we're seeing now? If I compare
Bro,
to
Jason Tatum, you don't give Jason Tatum up. They come to you and say, "Hey, straight
I
up, we'll do
don't
straight
know.
up
I
trade.
mean,
We'll give you
I
Wemby. You got to
something
give
about
up the kid,
Tatum,
Jason
man.
Tatum."
I don't know. I just seen the resume with all these guys so far. I had to see more of the. Don't get me wrong. What he's doing this season is it has exceeded expectations. I mean, just some of the things we've been watching, it's been like amazing. But you know, I just Aaron Con. He's a big guy, right? So we just haven't seen a big guy. When's the injury coming with him? That's my only caution with him. But no,
So you're so far though, it sounds to me, Eugene. Sounds to me. So far, you're on the I would not give him up.
I mean, Tatum's my only guy, just because I don't watch a lot of Boston. That's my only team I don't watch a lot of, right? Because they're just so good. I just don't have to watch Boston. I know where they're gonna be. But like the other guys, I gotta tune in for, right? I mean, especially Jokic. Jokic is definitely. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm just not gonna do it. And we already know.
So in order then, let's go in order then.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Because there's only 5 guys on that top no way list.
No way.
In what order do you go?
Jokic. Oh my gosh, Giannis. I'm torn between Luca and Ant, just because Ant's just obviously had their number, like they're just been in the number one more team this year. They've been in the East, but Luca's has the more. I'll go Luca 3, Ant 4, Tatum 5. And you can persuade me anyway. You definitely can persuade me. You got a better argument. I'm not gonna split hairs on
I
this
don't
one.
know if I have a better one. I think that'll be hard because it's interesting because the last few guys, because if you go Jokic and Giannis, I think in the order because they have won championships
Right.
and they
There,
have
that's easy,
won
right?
MVPs and championships. You don't usually trade that guy. And also they've stayed loyal to their franchises. They both have re-upped with their current franchise. So I feel like you're not just gonna sweep that under the rug either. They brought you championships. They've re-signed with you, and these aren't LA or New York market teams.
Mm-hmm.
They've re-signed with these teams.
Right.
So I think that that to me solidifies Giannis and Jokic. Like I'm not giving them up for anything. They've done everything they're supposed to do.
Correct.
Luka third. I'm not trading Luka straight up. Not right now. Like maybe for something interesting that you said is for what Wemby can become.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing from those top 5 guys with Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Tatum, then Ant for me in that order.
Yeah.
I would not. I mean, I'm already liking what I see with these guys now. There's no reason to rock the boat here, right? Like Wemby can end up being a very dominant player, kind of taking over the league type of player. But if you like what you have here with some of these guys, why risk that? I mean, they play enough of the games. Jokic plays a lot of the games. They guys stay relatively healthy. So without knowing that I'm going to get the exact same bill of health from Wemby, the ascension, so to speak, because you got to think if he ascends to where, because you look at that Giannis ascension to where he ended up being, and you look at that Jokic ascension to where he ended up being. Could you imagine Wemby ascending from where he is now?
I mean, it's
my God.
I just try to like, it's like same thing with Ant. Ant reminds me of somebody I don't want to say out loud that I've heard other people say, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it, right? I just see so many.
Whisper it to us, man. Whisper
right. He's whispering, right? He's whispering. We hear the whispers, but we see that competitive side to him. But I want to see it. Like it just, you see every moment. It's like, oh my God, he reminds me of up. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I'm not gonna say it out loud, right?
So, what about championship wise? So is there anything that you can see? Because Wemby, if you ask me, Wemby straight up right now for my guy Ant or Tatum, the difference between Ant and Tatum is Tatum has been, I think, in the playoffs every year. He's been in the league. Like that's what else can you do?
And been to the finals.
Been to the finals already.
Been to the finals, right?
What else can you do? You've not had a down year, and you really can move him in front of Luka. And to be honest with you, like I think Luka's a better player, but if you look at the result of the team, he rockets right there behind Jokic or Giannis, Jokic, and that's how I'll go Giannis because I love Giannis, Jokic, but I also love Jokic. He's a very good player. Yep. I'm not trading either one of those guys. Doesn't really matter. It's like a 1-1A for me. You really can put Tatum there third. I just think that you asked me if I wanted to start a team, which I did see a GM situation where if you wanted to start a team, who would you start it with? And all four of the other guys were on the list. Tatum wasn't one of the guys. They were all low digits, though. I think the most guy was Jokic. Jokic had the most on that list. But it was Jokic. Luka had some votes on the list. Giannis had some votes on the list. Ant had some votes on the list, but Tatum didn't have any votes. So you really, in that way, could put him fifth. But for me personally, I'm going to go Jokic, Giannis, Jokic. It's like 1-1A.
Right, exactly.
It's so hard because I think Jokic has 2 MVPs or 1. Yep.
He's going to win a third. So let's just give him a third right here.
Okay, so let me go Jokic with the MVP tiebreaker because I just really like Giannis. I like him as a player. Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Tatum, and Ant. I'm gonna go in there. I'll stick to the order. I'll stick to that order.
Yeah. Again, you're
it's tough though.
You're splitting hairs, right?
It's tough for sure.
Right.
Now let's go to no because of loyalty tier is Steph Curry. Steph Curry on the no for because of loyalty tier. What do you think there? Still no for you?
I mean, you're not. It'd be a no.
I mean, you have to have it be a no now, right? Like he's got to retire a Warrior at this point. In his career, right?
It's almost like if Dominique had won that many championships here, right? And let's just say Dominique had played so long, and Michael Jordan, it's in the draft while Dominique had done all his dominance, right? You're not looking at well, Dominique did all these things. He won us 4 championships. We're not going to let him go. We're going to ride him out. They're just going to,
I think so.
It's like you just don't
learn that too. Model citizen he's been.
Yeah. Because he not only did it, he did it without Durant, did with Durant, and Durant left and he still won another championship. So he's proven like you just don't let that walk out the door.
Okay. So then both a no on the Steph Curry. I would agree with that because of the loyalty, though. Because I feel like if this was an NFL and you saw what happened to Peyton Manning, you see what happened to a lot of the greats in the game of the NFL, you can be gone when that better guy is coming around. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, you can be gone if we feel like something better is coming around the corner. It didn't really work out like that for the Patriots, but it definitely worked out for San Francisco. I think they ended up winning a Super Bowl with Steve Young after Joe Montana left. And it
right?
worked out a little bit for the Colts because Andrew Luck was a not pass up. You couldn't pass that chance up to
No,
draft the guy. It was
no,
unfortunate. And
no.
Peyton was coming off a back surgery, even though Peyton did go win another chip, though, and had an excellent year with Denver, excellent couples years with Denver. So if it's like the NFL, he'd be out of here as soon as a Wemby comes knocking, a young Wemby comes knocking. Steph would probably be gone in the NFL, but
Right.
in the NBA, I agree because he's not exactly. He's still got something left in the tank too, as well. Now the strong consideration is your boy Shea Gilgeous Alexander, SGA. My
SGA.
fantasy guy, who's out the 1 week that I need him here for my championship game. He is injured, and it's killing me. Him and Jamal Murray are both killing me this week. Bro. They're both been out games in my fantasy championship. So it is what it is. But SGA got me to the championship games. I can't knock that. What are your thoughts on the SGA? And strong consideration, does that mean no? Because I feel like I probably still will have to trade SGA, man. I would probably have to trade him, but I'm not going to love trading him. I'm not going to love it. Like that's, I mean, especially given the way that the Thunder's already built, right? You got Chet there. The way the Thunder's already kind of built, I don't know. I feel like you'd lightweight have to get rid of Chet and SGA to make that kind of work.
You might have to. Then what do you have around him? Do you have like almost that same? Well, you have a better team than we have for San Antonio, but
yeah, better than what he's got now. Yeah, for sure.
Right. At least he has a point guard that can throw the ball into him. For God's sakes, throw an entry pass into him. Just because the resume's starting for SGA, right? We're starting to see that team, so that's where you can make the argument, right? You can't make it for Steph. You can kind of make it for some of the other guys, the no way argument, but I could see the SGA one, right? Because yes, we see it happening. Like they're gonna be, they're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna be 50+ team.
He's giving you 30.
What's that?
30. He's averaging 30 this season.
I don't know. I have to see what I'm getting back. But yeah, if I'm getting Chet, I'm getting SGA back, then I'm kicking the tires on that one.
Now, if I'm the Spurs and you're gonna give me Chet Holmgren and SGA for Wemby, there's a good chance I make that trade. If I'm trading Wemby out and I can get Chet and SGA back, there's a good chance I'm gonna make that trade. But if I'm OKC, do I just trade him straight up for Wemby?
Right, and they have
I feel like you probably
too, right?
would. I think you probably would. Probably would trade him, but I don't know, man. That's not a clear-cut situation.
No,
there, for sure.
No,
that's not as clear as you would think it would be, right? That's probably why he's in that strong consideration, because you would think SGA for Wemby, yeah, for sure. But that's only if you don't watch basketball. If you watch basketball, I don't know. Because SGA's a dope player. Now, what about your boy Embiid, man? Is this has to be just due to injuries, right? For the sorry bye category here. Do you agree with that, first of all? Because this is not our list, first and foremost. This is fadeaway world list. So we're just kind of vamping on the list. But so far, it has been pretty much agreement coming down it for the most part. Now, the sorry bye category they gave to Joel Embiid. And I think I kind of agree here as well. I hate to say it. Right. If nothing else, for injury alone. And it's for a few things. So if I'm Philly, the reason I would make this trade is because of the injury history. Wemby's younger. Yep. And we've tried it with Embiid for year after years of different iterations of different teams. We'd kick the tires on different teams, different ways to try to get over the hump. And I feel like we would have to try to do something. But just like the SGA, I'm not excited. I'm not super excited to make the move. I'm not like, they don't make this phone call and I'm celebrating and popping champagne. It's a terrible decision. I would hate to have to make it if something like that ever came in. But I can see why you would make the decision to get Embiid out of there. Is that your decision, or you hold on to Embiid?
No, I mean
MVP for Embiid, by the way.
What's that?
MVP? Is MVP for him?
But again, if it's, I mean, it's never straight up. But let's just say for this argument it is. So let's just say it's straight up for those two guys. Well, if I'm feeling I'm loving it, right? Because I'm bringing in Wemby into a situation where I've got a lot of money coming off on my books, right? I've got that Tobias Harris contract coming off my books. I
Still
got
got your boy
Maxey,
Maxey
right?
in there.
Maxey is he's he's just taking the reins here. And I have all this extra money, and I can build my team around this guy. I've already got my other guy. I got Maxey. I've got my number 2A guy, my 1A guy here. Now all I gotta do is build around this guy. So, and like you said, Embiid, I love the guy. I do love him, but that injury, like you say it all the time, and I agree with you. The injury history has to matter. And as you get older, like he's on the other side, he's getting close to that 30, right? That age 30, where when big guys get there, it doesn't bode well for them. So if I can trade him and get the younger guy, and I'm going to put him with Maxi, and then I have all this extra money to just give him some extra guys, which I don't think San Antonio did a good job with this year. I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to do that in the future, but man, why not? Why not throw them in into the East? The West is loaded this year, right? The West is completely loaded.
Right.
The East is just 2 or 3 teams loaded, and that's it. So if you throw him into that situation, they become kind of that favorite at that point.
Right. I have to. Yeah, I would end up making that move here. Let's go rapid fire.
Yep.
For the audience that can't see, on the bottom here, I'm gonna be testing. There's no name, so I'm definitely gonna be testing my NBA knowledge here with just these faces. Of course, LeBron's easy to go with here. So I'm just gonna ask quick yes or no. And now, even though on this list that as we're looking at it here, it just says immediately they're out of here. I guess you don't even have to just whisper, and you're telling this guy to get on a plane, and pack his stuff and get out of here.
Yep.
So some of these guys, I can't say it's necessarily the same immediate for me. Like you'd be, hey, get them out of here. But probably. So let's go LeBron. LeBron, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, for age. Me too.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, yes or no?
Yes.
Kevin Durant, yes, for age as well. I take it, huh?
Yeah.
Booker. Yes or no?
No, at this point.
No. So you're keeping Booker over Wemby.
Just for now. Yep. Just he's been to a finals. He's been to a finals.
Okay.
I gotta give him that.
I would say I probably would trade Wemby for Booker, but not in the immediately. I'm moving Booker up to the Shea category. He'd be my strong consideration. Like that's a thought. That's not an instant hang up the phone and start celebrating with the staff phone call. That's
right.
I have to move Booker up. So he definitely wouldn't be in this immediately category. Anthony Davis, injury history for me, he's out of here only because of the injury history.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler. Yes.
I
like Jimmy Butler. Is that Halliburton? Tyler Halliburton here in the center?
I'm going to say no.
Really? Yeah. So Halliburton's on your no way.
He's in my no for now.
No for now. Halliburton, you're out of here if Wemby comes available on my team. We hope that Eugene is the GM there. De'Aaron Fox. Yes, I'm taking Wemby.
Yep.
For you.
Yep. I'm with you.
John Morant. You know what's crazy? John Morant a couple of years ago, this would have been a lot harder for me than it is now. Now, if I gotta trust my franchise to one guy or the other, I'm gonna lean Wemby right now. He hasn't had any charges, hasn't been suspended or anything like that. So I don't know how many strip clubs he frequents, and I'm not really gonna take that away from you. You know what I mean? So it's wait, yeah, you're right. He's 19.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even legally go. So at least a couple more years where you can't legally be in the strip club. We'll see. We'll see after that if he moves down the list. So Morant, you said yes or no for you?
I said no.
No, okay. Kawhi Leonard, yes. Injury history, easy.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Morant. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, for Morant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm backing up. Yes, I'm with you.
All right, so Morant, you would trade?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry.
Okay. Kawhi, you trade or no?
Yes.
Yeah, injury for me for Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
Injury and age.
Yep.
Paul George. Yep.
Yes.
Paul, I love you, man. You're out of here though. Zion, yes, because of the weight situation. He's dominating. He's starting to kind of come around the corner, but I feel like the out the gate situation now that Zion's been in the league for what, 2-3 years at least, maybe even 4. maybe even 4 years for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing what Wemby's doing in his first not even full season. Oh my goodness, no! I'm sorry, man. Like I feel like I like where Zion is ascending,
Like where's
and I
he at
don't
now,
think
right?
that people would have wrote him off.
Mm-hmm.
Or you wrote him off way too soon. He's a walking guy. He's gonna get you 25 points. I mean, he's just like a walking 25-point guy, right? So I move him out of this list. He's not in my immediately list, just like Ja. So certain guys, Halliburton too. So Halliburton, Ja, Zion, Devin Booker will move up to the strong consideration tier
Yeah.
for me,
I
for
I
all
just
those
what
guys.
I've seen from him last this year. He's dropped the weight. We got the point
He's
Zion.
balling, man.
He's
He's
yes.
balling.
It's like we've been waiting to see this, but again, we've been fooled, right? We've been how many times have we been fooled by this scary movie?
Right.
Right? So
Yep.
I gotta wait.
Now, Trey Young, you already know how I feel about this.
I'm right
Trey,
there with you.
I mean,
You
you're my
don't have
boy,
any answer
but
for me.
you're out of here. You be out of here the moment that phone call got made.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing too, guys, when we're looking at this, ladies and gents, we are looking at if you're moving to the top list. If I'm putting you at the no way, like I wouldn't trade you list. I also have to look at the guys that's on their no way list and feel like you're comparable to them as well. It's not just you against Wemby, it's you against the people that you're in that list with. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That's why when I say that I would move a Ja Morant, a Halliburton, or Booker up to the strong consideration, because I have them on the same list as SGA. They're guys where I wouldn't love to make that move
Right.
if that phone call came in. Trey, yeah, Trey to be out of here. Donovan Mitchell, I think Donovan Mitchell and Trey share a little bit of the same situation, even though I do like Donovan Mitchell a little bit more than Trey right now. And that's just undersized guys. And I feel like Wemby can get it to me on both sides of the floor. I need the defense and the offense. And I believe these guys are great at providing one side of that, but not as much
Yep.
at the other. What is it for you and Donovan?
Same. I feel like Trey and Donovan are two guys that are not gonna be in our franchise much longer. Like I feel like I feel like they're like
Donovan might go to New York, man.
they're
Might be
the
doing
cute
another show on that.
girl. They're flirting with you, but they're looking. What's the other person looking over there? What's that guy? Oh, I feel like they're flirting with other teams while we're behind our back.
Wow.
Yeah,
Goodness.
definitely
No
Donovan.
loyalty.
It's very obvious, right? Donovan's a very obvious
Yeah,
one.
it's because Donovan might go to New York, man.
Right.
And
Mike,
plus,
it's
has
where he wants
Donovan
to
had
go.
a chance to become a free agent? I wouldn't knock him for that, because some of these guys, they never get a chance to actually become free agents and have
Right.
teams court them and go through that whole free agent process. So I don't knock it. Go out there and see what the teams will do for you. Paolo, sorry, bro. Y'all, I've liked you. I drafted you on my fantasy team last year as a rookie, but I would trade you for Wemby for sure. Where are you at on Paolo
I
then?
don't know. He's kind of in that kind of not sorry bye, but strong consideration in that middle. I don't know if there's a middle tier. I've loved what I've seen from him so far. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's a great player. I just
Yeah.
like
So
Wemby more. It'd be like
yeah.
a no-brainer for me. For him. Jalen Brunson, is that a no-brainer as well? Is that Julius Randle next to him? Brunson now, man, he's doing everything that you want him to do, right? Like you talk about a guy who is doing everything for his team that he can. So Brunson, I'm not super happy to kind of get rid of there. So
But
maybe I
Wemby
move
in New
Brunson into
York.
strong consideration,
Yeah.
because I think he has the same issue that Trey and Donovan are going to have. It then becomes a size issue and a guy who can deliver on both sides of the ball for me.
Right.
Is that Alpha, that Sangoon right there in the middle there?
That's Mr. Sengun.
Yeah, and he's got also my fantasy team last year. Excellent, delivered for me. I'm a fan, but you'd be out of here in a heartbeat. If that phone call was made. Jamal Murray, my guy. I love people. You know how much I love Jamal Murray, man. He's in my fantasy team this year. Also out for me this championship week that I'm in right now. But he's I think he's a big part of why Denver is what they are.
Yeah.
Without Jamal Murray, I don't have Denver as a championship team.
They're not.
And he's a big part of that champion. I would have him. I held him in slight higher regard than the other guys when it comes to Brunson. Not much higher than Brunson, but I do still hold him higher than the Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, and Trey. So I would probably have him in my strong consideration category, whereas I would not have them in those categories.
Yeah, you'd have to
Brandon
pry him
Ingram.
away from me.
Yeah, for sure. For Jamal Murray for you? You trade?
Yeah, no, you'd have to really give me a sweet offer for Jamal, just from what I've seen from him.
Especially if it's Denver, right? And if it's because we're going player to player, but if this was to literally call this team, especially with a guy that's a foundation piece of your championship winning team,
Right.
it's gonna be hard to give that up and to just break that up as an extra consideration for those kind of franchises. Brandon Ingram, you'll probably be out of here.
Out of here. I just injury history. That's the only we've seen the glimpses, but that's just the injury history. Just I don't know. I don't know what he is.
Yeah, he'd be gone for me. Scotty Barnes, just naming him, just pulling him off, naming off the top of the head here. Scotty, you're out of here.
Oh yeah, just I
I
like
like Scotty too. I
I
like all
do
these
like
players,
him.
to be honest with you. There's no player on this bottom list that I just hate.
No,
And that's probably
but
why they have
again,
to be down
I
there.
just don't know what he is in Toronto, and I don't. Here's the thing: I don't know what Toronto is. So it's just one of the things I don't know what they're doing. I haven't figured out what they're doing. I'm confused what they're doing down there. So I don't know what I. But again, if I'm giving Wemby, I want Wemby over Scotty.
Okay, so then let's go with Zach LaVine.
Oh, easy. He's gone.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's playing. Like
He's not. His team's playing better without him.
I'd need half your team, bro. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I need him and DeMar, and it's still like a thought, right? Like
Yeah.
you if I got to get him and DeMar from me, do I? From the San Antonio, do I really want to make that deal? I don't know if I want to make that deal, but yeah, just throwing it out there. And DeMar was down there in San Antonio. It's funny that Zach LaVine's on this list, though. DeMar's not on this list. Mikal Bridges, come on. You know what time it is, Mikal. You be out of here.
Yep.
Same thing with LaMelo down here. I almost called him Lonzo. LaMelo, you're gone, bro. Like that's because LaMelo cannot stay on the court. Cannot stay on the court. From a fantasy standpoint, once again, I hate to hark on fantasy basketball, but from a fantasy standpoint, he will break your heart, ladies and gentlemen. He will break your heart. Put him on your team. My guy, Jaylen Brown, he would definitely be out of here, but my problem is
the contract
is my Atlanta bias, man. I love, man, this guy, he went to my high school. I love Jaylen Brown, man. All the Atlanta guys, I'm partial to. And it's hard for me. I almost move them up a tier just because of that. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard to part with him. But I would for Wemby. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. For the same, I feel like defensively, I get so much better. Defensively with Wemby. And that's what it is for some of these players here. Yeah, for sure. But I feel like Wemby's going to be getting $500 million when his time comes. So
yeah, but at least you have the 4 years before you have to pay him versus you're already paying Jaylen.
That's true. It's true. Kyrie Irving, yeah, same reasons that I've kind of quoted. I have a little more respect for Kyrie. Model citizen there in Dallas, doing everything you asked him to do. We were hard on Kyrie during the Brooklyn years because of his lack of being on the court, kind of the inconsistency there. I was on the court, but he's done everything he's been asked to do down in Dallas, and I think he deserves accolades for that. And he's gonna get you 20 to 30 easily. It's just the defensive side of the ball with him would have me choosing Wemby over him, and age and defensive side of the ball would have me choosing Wemby. Jalen Green's turned into a pretty good player, right? Jalen Green's a pretty good player out here. So, of course, I would still go Wemby over him. But I feel like he's playing himself into the strong consideration category, man. It's probably because Houston too is just not a good basketball team. Not a great team. So maybe there's a little bit of a knock there, but I do like
they've been fighting, man. They're they were supposed to be that bottom tier team, but fighting to be in that play-in team. I
think he's a big part of that, man.
Yes,
he's a big part of it, and I feel like they would have a hard time. He's playing him. He's not quite strong considered. I don't quite put him in the same places I would have a Halliburton or a Morant or a Zion or a Booker. I would have those guys ahead of him, but I feel like he's playing himself into that tier, though. Like he's playing himself into the you're really gonna think about
trade block
me
all year. I mean, during the offseason, and now just turn his career around. Kudos to him and that team.
Bam Adebayo, Bam, you'd be out of here. I like your style of play, but you'd be out of here for Wemby. I just like Wemby better. There's nothing. I don't really have any
love Bam, but
analysis there.
I feel like I'm getting a step, like you said. I'm upgrading here at this point.
A little bit of an upgrade.
A little bit of upgrade.
Right. And he's younger and all that other good stuff too. Ages, all that stuff plays a factor with a lot of these guys. Dame Lillard, I feel like, has the same issues that a Donovan Mitchell may have. I like the basketball acumen, so to speak. I like the show that he puts on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I hope he gets a chip here. I think he's deserved it after all his loyalty to Portland. But I think size is easy. This is an easy one just due to I feel like I'm getting so much more of a defensive player. And that's what it is with a lot of these guys. The tiebreaker is I'm getting pretty much a defensive player of the year candidate as a rookie.
Right.
It's hard to turn that down, and he still gives me offense. Like if the guy gave me no offense, if he's like a Ben Wallace out there, a guy just pure defense and no offense, maybe I would be different. But a lot of these players, he can give you offense, and he can also play D. So yeah, that would have him out of here. Cat. I don't think Minnesota will love this. I don't know if Minnesota would have him out of there immediately.
No,
I think maybe they would have him out of there. But I don't know if they'd have him out of there immediately. For me personally, I would trade him. I would have him out there probably a little bit quicker. But if I'm Minnesota, I'll move him up to more like the strong consideration category because I don't think that Minnesota would love to part with him. Chet, you're probably out of there, Chet. I mean, you're too new, bro. Like you're kind of new. You're injured. You missed your first full season. You're balling this year. You're part of what we felt OKC was going to be. We've talked about OKC a lot on this show,
right,
in the past few years. And we felt OKC was knocking, and they seem like they're here now. And Chet's a big part of that. So he's out of here for me. Now, what about?
He's out. He's gone.
I say all that to say he's out of here. But at the same time, though, I do like what he's doing, and I feel like with those younger players, with players like him and Green, those guys still have an opportunity to play themselves into further categories. Like they're just getting started with how good they can actually be. So this isn't kind of like a resting place. Like for some of these other guys where you're tail end of your career, this is kind of like what you're going to be. But for players like Chet and Green and these other guys, they're still on an ascension. You can even say Zion to a certain degree, still on an ascension. So you got to see exactly what that'll be. And Lauri Markkanen, who I'm a huge fan of, by the way. You're talking about the model of consistency. This guy just goes out there and balls and just quietly balls, right? Really nothing flashy about the guy. I'm surprised that a player like Sabonis isn't on this list because they kind of remind me of. I don't know if they play the exact same kind of game, but they're kind of guys that you look at from the outside looking in. Again, Jokic is a guy like this, right? Not just because they're just white guys. I think it's because of how they carry themselves as well. They're not really like Luka's a trash talker. So you see Luka and the swag that Luka plays with. It's a different swag than a Jokic or Lauri Markkanen and Sabonis and all these other guys play with. So I think that they get Markkanen out of there, but I think Lauri Markkanen is a player that can play on a championship team, bro. Like if he's like your second option, if your second option is Markkanen, you have a
good option.
You have a good option, right? Or if you have a super high quality second option, like you put Markkanen with a Devin Booker or something like that, or where there's a 1-1A, you put him with a 1-1A guy, and he just put some guys around him. I think they'll make some noise. Remember, they made some noise when they lost Gobert and Donovan. It would have made some noise, and I think Markkanen was a big part of that. But I would trade him for Wemby.
Yes,
that's our last guy here. And it's just so the show's not an hour long. I think we're going to get out of here after that. We'll talk some more basketball probably towards the end of the season here. We're coming down. We'll see. I don't know if Trey's even coming back for the Hawks. So we'll see.
What's the point?
If he's even coming back. At this point, right? That's kind of where my fantasy championships lie, right? Like when you look at the real world implications, why bring Shea back? Why bring Jamal back? Why bring any of these guys back? For if you're playing for something or even if you're not playing for something, right? Like there's no point in really bringing these guys back. So we'll see kind of how that fares as we go into the end of the NBA season. This is Just the Stats. Reggie Johnson, Eugene Morton. Check us out. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. See you next time.